First of all, I would like to thank Coach Allen and the whole football family for welcoming me here at Indiana. Right at this time, it's a great place for me to be. I believe that this is a great program that's on the rise, and I'm just proud to be a part of it. And the atmosphere is totally what I'm looking for. So I'm excited to be here and ready to go to work.
All right, Matt, we from Dustin, guys. Introduce yourself and say who for please.
Hey, Coach, Matt Weaver with 247 Sports. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
I guess what was it? Obviously, you've been in the NFL for a little while. What made Indiana come back to college football appealing to you? What kind of stood out, and what did Coach Allen sell you on that made you want to come to IU?
Well, it was a thing where I've been in the NFL for a while. It's a family setting here. Not to say it's not in the NFL, but I had some things happen in my life. My mother passed and my father passed in a span of 7 months. And at one point, I was just going to take some time off. And Coach Allen reached out to me, and I have heard a lot of positive things about him. And everything I've heard and what I'm seeing now, it's real. And it's just a great fit for me right now.
Right, Dustin and Tom.
Yeah, Dustin DePierac, Bloomington Herald Times, and Indianapolis Star. Congratulations. I guess just what do you think just your time in the NFL can, how do you think that can just help you coaching wide receivers? What do you think you'll be able to bring to these guys that, that they haven't seen before and that you know from coaching guys and what it requires at the next level?
Well, one of the most important things is the confidence, and far as the receiver plan, the developmental of it. I played and coached at McNeese State, so most of the time when I got a receiver, he never really played receiver. He was a great 2-3A quarterback, running back, played baseball, basketball, just kind of the athlete, and really sculpted him into being a receiver. So for me, that's where I got my 10 years of experience of coaching guys and developing them to play that game of receiver and the technical part of it. So for me, having that background and going to the NFL and having success, at places that I've been, for me to come back is just a beautiful thing for me to teach them. So not only do I have tape of it and examples, but it's real life things that, I really believe in. And if I believe in it and I'm teaching it and they believe in what I'm teaching, then they're going to go out there with preparation and confidence to go out there and execute it at a high level. And that's the biggest thing, is about being a pro on and off the field, about being a technician and a pro with your craft, because at this level in the Big Ten, it's big time football. So you have to be on your game each and every week. So for me, it's about the consistency and the preparation. So if I can bring that to this group, the confidence, the energy, the enthusiasm, and I'm just ready for that at this point in time.
Right, Tom, is that? All right, looks like Tom's frozen. Zach Keegan.
I guess kind of along the same, Zach Oster, the Indianapolis Star, forgive me, but Coach, along some of those sort of same lines, I mean, as somebody who's got an extensive background at the professional level of this game, what are some of the things that you think maybe can transfer skills-wise or teaching-wise from working in an NFL setting down to a college setting the best, the most effectively?
Well, the biggest thing is Coach Allen always preaches, learning concepts, playing with energy and enthusiasm. So if you're a conceptual learner here, it's going to help you on the next level. So I may play outside, inside, different spots. So if I can conceptualize and understand what we're running and how we're running something, I can go inside and outside and move around. So you see the guys who have the most success, on the next level when they're conceptual learners. So you're only going to have 5 guys, maybe 6, dressed on a Sunday. So it's the next person up. It's not the next position man up. So if this, L or R goes down, then it's the next one. It's not like that. It's the next best person. So for me, the conceptual thinking, and bringing that to, the receiver group, especially the writing down everything for us, the note taking and the details of it. So it's all about being a pro because, if I come and approach meetings, the meeting time, the preparation is so important. So for me to bring that to the room and then bring that over to the practice field because we're going to develop those things. We're going to work those things in individual meetings, and then we're going to work them in individual, periods on the field. And then now once we get to a team setting, then they transfer over there. So remember that repetition is the mother of all learning. So we just have to get the reps in and then keep repping those things, the little fine details of it.
Keegan and Sam.
Hey, Coach, Keegan Nicholson with thehoosier.com. In all your times coaching collegiately and professionally, what's something that you've consistently seen your guys do well, and what do you put an emphasis on?
Well, the big thing is making plays. So I believe in running the ball, so I have no problem with that. But at the end of the day, we still have to make plays on the outside. So just like a running back in the NFL could rush for 2,000 yards, you can still have 1,000-yard receivers on the outside. So there's so much offense there. And for me, it's about getting the guys to make plays at big times. And so my guys normally in coaching, they're making big plays down the field and bringing energy, because when you have the energy and enthusiasm, then now that translates and that breeds amongst all the whole team. And so they're looking for the receivers to make plays. So it's a lot of it's confidence. So I mean, just like there's good hands, there's great hands, and then there's confident hands. So if a receiver is confident, then they're going to expand their catching radius so you can put the ball anywhere around them, and they're going to go out there and make a play.
Good morning, Coach. Sammy Jacobs from Hoosier Huddle. I know you haven't been in Bloomington that long, but you had a chance to watch tape of the current guys you have at receiver now, and what are your early first impressions?
I got in and real late and started watching a little bit on them, and been watching it with Coach Walt, and he was going over a bunch of things with me late last night. So I've been, at it pretty steadily. And so for me, it's just I see a lot of potential there. It's just the little details and, for as being on attack mode and understanding that I know where I'm going, so I'm going to take what I want. And so it's just a position of a difference of technique or how you approach the game. And so I'm pleased at this point. Today was pretty good. We we made some strides, but then there's some things that we need to work on. So it's early. And so for me, it's about stacking wins every day, right? Every day. So today, did I get better? It's not about did I do 5 or 6 things right? So I go onto the field and I approach, what's one thing can I work on to get better at? When I get in the meeting rooms, what is one thing I can work on and be more detailed in? So for me, and having that approach with the guys and selling that to them, a lot of things that I'm bringing to them right now, it's different, it's new, right? So we have to continue just to rep those things and continue to get better. So, and just put our head down and stack wins day by day.
Tom,
Hey, Coach, Tom Bruce, Sports Illustrated Indiana. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Apologize for the delay. Kind of bump and run coverage by bad internet here at the airport. But I had a question for you. So the co-offensive coordinator tag is on your title as well as regards to wide receivers coach. What sort of ideas do you like to try to bring to the table in regards to plays or route trees or concepts in regards to that sort of part of your job as well?
Yes, it's just help Coach Walt in any way possible. Things it could be situational football, third down, things that's in the red zone, conceptual thinking as far as attacking, because what we're doing is just seeing what we're good at. So just having the feel of the quarterbacks and the feel of the receivers and kind of picture some things of the spatial awareness of just being in attack mode on third down when certain defenses want to, play us a certain way and how to attack those things. So right now it's in the early stage, but we had, a couple of long talks about just being on the same page, and we're on the same page. And so it's going to be fun, to work with Coach Walt.
Kevin,
I guess one of the things that stands out on your resume is your time at LSU working with Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham. I'm just curious about what it was like coaching those two guys and what hand you have in their development.
It was a really a transition, um, well, mentality wise, because they had a long history of just receiver, DBs versus receivers, and the amount of DBs coming out of there, and every now and then a receiver that would come out of LSU and produce and do well. So for me, it was just changing the mindset. Those guys were eager to learn, for us catching balls on the jug machines where they broke two jug machines, and just having the confidence of learning the offense, but conceptual thinking and putting them all over. So you didn't know exactly where to put them. So the first year was more of a, the belief thing of selling the confidence of knowing, what's going on and who battled and what to do at certain times. And so once that transitional period went by, the confidence level just really, really took place to where you could see these guys had so much confidence. So for me, it was a joy to watch, especially being young men and going out there and just having that swag, as we say, to go out there and compete at a high level, not just be there. It doesn't matter what goes on or what's happening outside, but when you get on that field, it's just a safe haven, right, where you can go out there and just have fun and just let it go. And so for me, these guys, really put it on the line for me. And I just appreciate them for it, because a lot of times we always talk about coaching, and it is important about coaching, but it also, those guys went out there and played consistently on a consistent basis.
Awesome. So high schoolers today, they look at the receivers like Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr. I mean, those are the receivers they grew up watching as like CD Lamb. I mean, so far as they model their game after those guys, what do you feel you bring as a recruiter, being able to go to those guys and being like, hey, I've worked with these guys and I've also seen what you can do?
Right. That's a very good point, because I do have that on my resume, but not also, saying that, but also coaching that and having conversations of how to get you better. Most of the time, when a guy has a certain skill set, how do you really cultivate that skill set and bring it to the next level? Because when you have success, all right, at this level, then that will transcend hopefully to the next level. And we all know education and developing young men, that's a forte of mine. I do have a master's in education and instructional technology, so I'm big into being a teacher. I'm a lifelong learner, love to read, anything that I get to, as far as, it's not just football, but self-help books, but also developing young men, right? That's my forte of just helping them on and off the field. And so when they believe in you and they know how much you care, then you can really teach them. So for me, it's about developing the whole person, but also football, as we know, is a big part, and that's the reason why they would want to come here. But then also have a track record of developing guys to exceed on the next level, not just being there, but being a day one starter and contributing right then and there. So for me, it was a fun time, because as that happened at LSU, you seen the trend where there was more and more receivers just coming out of the program.
Matt,
Hey, Coach, during your NFL time, you spent a couple of years with the Giants, and Coach Johnson and Coach Wellman were also there. Did you reach out to them at all when you were thinking about coming to Indiana and just kind of get feedback from them? And then how does it much easier to make the transition that there's a couple guys that you've had prior working experience with?
Well, actually, I remember Coach Wellman was here, but Coach Johnson, I had no idea. I hadn't talked to him in a little while. We would text now and then, and really it was someone in the recruiting staff that I recruited a long time ago in 2012. That's why relationships are so important. So Lee Wilbanks is in the personnel department, and he was at junior college, Hines Junior College, when I was at LSU. And so he found out that I was free and I was open, and so they ended up getting contact with me, and then reassured me and told me Coach Wellman was there, and then that's when I found out that Coach Johnson was there. So for me, just to lean on those guys and just to really get their input was really good for me. But initially, it was all about the relationship, the network business. And so Craig is really, Coach Johnson's helped me so far, even last night, making sure that I'm good to get where I need to get. And he even wrote down the address to where I'm staying to make sure I don't get lost.
convinced you that you should work again now, basically, instead of deciding to go with that initial decision to just take a year away?
Well, I'm real dear to my father. Had Alzheimer's and dementia, and so really and truly, my parents were like a notebook type of relationship. They met when they were like 11 and 10. So I'm youngest of 8, 7 boys, 1 girl, and when my father stopped knowing who my mother was, my mother just crushed her. So it was one of those things where she didn't want to be here anymore. So being the youngest, that I'm close to my mother, right? So out of the 7 boys, 1 girl, and we're all close to them. But for me, it was just special because when I was young, they were all away, right? So I was the last one out the house. And so she was really the best coach I've ever had, my parents, right? So that's why I can manage a lot of personalities like Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry and Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, Anquan Bolden, Torrey Holt, all these people that I've coached because my parents did a great job of that in our home, of cultivating the relationships. And so for me, watching my mother, she didn't really want to be here anymore because my father didn't know who she was. So she basically willed herself in 8 weeks not to be here. And so then that happened right before camp. So we started camp early because we played the Hall of Fame game. So basically I buried my mother on Saturday, went home on Sunday to Dallas, and I went to Beaumont, buried her, went back to Dallas on Sunday. Monday went to work, and then Tuesday morning we flew to Oxnard. And so in the span, because of COVID, I've had about 8 deaths in the family that was close to my parents. 5 days removed from my mother's funeral, my first cousin, my mother's oldest sister, her daughter, my first cousin, she passed, and her son with COVID like 5 days after it. And so it was a string of just, unfortunate situations. And so then I'm upset. And so we lose against San Francisco, right? And I'm upset because we have a good team. And then on that Wednesday, we were able to go home. That Thursday, I went to go see my parent, and then I ended up going back to Dallas on Sunday evening. So 3 o'clock that morning, my father passed. So right before the season and after the season, this occurred. So my family is very, very close. And through it all, we all have jobs to do, and I did my job the best at my ability, regardless of what happened. And really and truly, a lot of guys in the room were really there. The players and even coaches were great for me. So it was one of those things where you're going to have to overcome certain circumstances. So for me, being an example as a leader, in my room as being a receiver coach, regardless of the circumstances, you still have to go out and perform and work. But I thought about just taking a break because, it had been, 25 years I've been at it and just never really, settled down. I missed 2 weddings, 2 brothers' weddings and funerals and get-togethers and birthdays. So there's so many things that you give up, as a coach, and willingly, and I would do it over again. But at that time, I took time just to relax. Even in the midst of this, a week later, Odell goes to the Super Bowl, and he's like, Pops, won't you come to the Super Bowl? I was like, no, I just need to just relax and just take some time and just be still. Because a lot of times we go in this society, we go, and at times we just don't take a break mentally and just recollect and reassess. So I'm recharged, ready to go, and out the blue, Coach Allen calls, he contacts, and so I just feel like this is a great opportunity for me. It's what I needed at this point in time, and so I'm just excited to be here.